What's up, everyone, and welcome to the return of Keto Conversations. This week, I sat down with Tom Garvey, the Keto Cook. I met Tom recently on YouTube, and we've been following each other's content for a couple months now. And I thought he would be a great guest for the first returning episode of Keto Conversations. Officially, this will be episode 5. And we sat down and had a great talk about his story with his journey to keto and getting his health back. So I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started. None of the information in this video should be taken as medical advice. We're not doctors, and you should always consult your doctor before making a lifestyle change. Anything we do talk about is basically our own experience with lifestyle changes. I'd also like to say that anything we talk about in this conversation are our personal experiences, and that's not to say that the way you do keto has anything wrong with it. Everybody's journey is different, and I don't want anyone to think that our opinions are the way things should be done, because, like I said, everybody does things differently, and I want you to do what works for you. So, with that being said, let's get to the video. Hope you enjoy it, and if you'd like to be a part of the series of videos, just send me an email in the address that's in my page, and I'll get back to you, and we'll set something up, and you can be a guest on the show. So grab your favorite sugar-free beverage, and we'll get started. Thanks for watching. Okay, Tom Garvey, the Keto Cook. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good, Jason. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for agreeing to do this and being the first official guest of the Keto Conversations reboot here. Trying to bring the keto story to as many people as we can, and bring different aspects and different, sort of takes on the keto diet, because it's not a one size fits all thing. So the more information we can get out there, the better. Usually I like to start this off with asking our guest sort of a backstory of how you sort of came to adopt the keto lifestyle, and what led up to it, and how it's been going.
Yeah, since I would say since early 2000s, I've been having nothing but health problems. Anywhere from I had bladder cancer. During the time I had bladder cancer, also wound up from the treatment, wound up type 2 diabetic. Okay, so I had to stop treatments and stuff. So when the doctor tells you, guess what, you need to get your affairs in order. Okay, you need to step up to the plate and start looking at what's going on. I was 50-something years old, and it hit me like a ton of bricks, because I'm holding my little grandson. And matter of fact, my first bladder surgery I had, my grandson was born the day before I had my first surgery. So I held him, and that was like the wake up call. But I didn't start keto right then and there. What I did was I was starting to juice. I went the juice route, and trying to eat. It did help a little bit, but once it really took effect, when I said, so I scratched my head. I said, I'm not going anywhere with this, because halfway through the treatments, they turned around and said that I had type 2 diabetes on top of everything else. So what I did was I started looking into different ways of doing a different lifestyle, changing my ways and everything. And I got into the keto end of it. And lo and behold, my blood sugar levels dropped. All of a sudden, I went to the urologist, and they turned around and said, guess what? We don't see any more tumors. Now, I want to get everybody up in an uproar here. I don't know if that happened, if that was because of it, but I tell you what, it was a big to do with it. So I started probably in 2016. I started heavy into keto, and I'm a retired chef, so I know my way around the kitchen. And the bottom line was that I was doing real well. I lost at that first time out, I lost 44 pounds. Okay. And I felt great. I mean, I couldn't feel any better. In 2014, I broke my leg in 4 places and my ankle. So I was walking with a cane. But once I started with keto lifestyle, I started moving around a lot better. Okay. But then, Jason, you know how it happens. I hit that poor me stage. Well, why can't I have a candy bar? I'll start it back again tomorrow. Why can't I have pizza or bread or whatever? Now, like I said, from cooking, I used to love to bake. I made my own doughs and stuff like that. Okay. So I went off track. So from the 44 pounds, I gained back 64 pounds. Okay. Now I can't walk again, can't maneuver. Went to the doctor out here. I moved at that time from Florida out here to Las Vegas. And when I went back to the doctor, he started a regimen of different medications again. So now I'm up to 14 medications. Felt like horrible. Okay. Couldn't walk. And the hard thing was for me to turn around and I had to get one of them little jazzy things to go get the mail.
Right.
I looked at my wife. I said, no, I'm not doing this. I'm sorry. I am not going to live my life like this. And that was the wake up call again. I mean, the cancer scared me to death. Okay. But just hitting that 60 mark and 64 years old and whatever. No, I can't do it. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. So I got diligent with it. Okay. And I found it to be easy because the easy part was just cut out, lose the cravings. Okay. So the first 7 days into it, I lost 12 pounds. And I know, my doctor said, well, that's water weight. Well, I looked at him. I said, it's weight, right?
Yeah.
So, and then it just started snowballing. And my grandson said to me, hey, Pop, you should make a YouTube channel. And I got to tell you, okay, this YouTube, okay, kept me going. Okay. It gave me the incentive to get up. Okay. What are we going to eat? And, and how am I going to make it? And that's how the whole journey started. So.
Yeah. And it seems like that's a fairly common sort of, not exactly theme, but it does seem that a lot of people hit that wall, they come to the realization, well, it's this or nothing, like I was in the same position when I started, and it was basically when I couldn't keep up with my grandson. He was starting to walk around and run around, and I couldn't even bend over to pick him up. I had sore knees and sore back, but it's the same thing. It's when something clicks and you're like, okay, well, either have to change or, that's it. Right. So
the best thing of the whole thing is that how all of a sudden I started the medications. So I don't need to take this anymore. Okay. And it seems to me, now this is just me talking. It seems like you chase your tail. Okay. So I started out with type 2 diabetes. So they put me on one medication. Okay. Now you got to go see the cardiologist because guess what? There's a problem with that. So now your cholesterol, blood pressure. So I just kept going around and here I am. And then the other light bulb that went off is that one medication that I was on all of a sudden turned out to be $430 a month. My end.
Yeah.
I said, no.
Yeah. And that's another thing I like to remind people too is, like, yes, eating whole foods, especially these days, can be, it's not cheap. Meat and eggs is not cheap these days, but, what's the alternative? Like, are you going to live the rest of your life paying for 14 medications that you have to take all the time? Like I'm thankful for being, 53 this year, and I don't need any medications. Wow. I was probably pre-diabetic when I started keto. I can't imagine where I'd be now if I hadn't started, but I'm thankful every day that, I was able to find something that really did work. So yeah, no, it's great that you've been able to stick with it. And I agree, having a YouTube channel, even though I didn't start it right away. I was 2 years into keto before I started my YouTube channel, but it's a great way to motivate you to keep on track and, come up with new ideas. And, I watch your channel all the time, and the stuff that you make is basically just whole foods minus the carbs, right?
Yeah, that's it.
That,
I mean, I had an awakening a couple videos ago. All right, I had. I'm involved with a lot of different people. I look at it this way. I'm not just with keto. I don't call it a diet. I call it a lifestyle, because
Mhm.
it really changes what you do. So I got involved with a lot of guys from the barbecue uh, place, and I mean, their videos and stuff. Really great people. A
Mhm.
lot of homesteaders. Okay, and a lot of people that do canning and stuff like that. And because my main focus is that everybody has to eat.
Mhm.
So I like to watch what other people do, how they make things, and whatever. So I had one guy from the barbecue community tell me, I don't follow you because the word keto. I don't like the word keto, and I don't like
Mhm.
nothing about keto. Okay. So I got thinking about it. And I said, well, you know what? Uh, Coming from the restaurant business, everything I cook, okay, is normal food.
Mhm.
Okay. Minus the starchier stuff, the potatoes, breads, the sweets and stuff like that. You can make whatever I make, and you add your own stuff to it, and it's just a regular dinner.
Mhm.
Okay, so I switched it around a little bit, so I don't add this. I don't use breadcrumbs anymore. I'll use uh, pork rinds.
Mhm.
I mean, and it's just little tricks like that. But so now my last couple videos that I made, I'm expressing that point. Okay, you can,
Mhm.
if you want, follow me, but you can also have you know have it your way, like Burger King. you know,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
and any desserts and stuff like that. So it's not a people have that myth about keto. Oh, it's keto. They're crazy. Them people are crazy. You know,
Mhm.
I don't know if you run into that or not, but I tell everybody, hey, I'm on the keto lifestyle. That's what I do.
Yeah. It's I have run into that in the past. I very rarely, talk to or say the word keto anymore when I'm talking to people about it.
Oh
You
no,
know,
I
I,
blurred it right out,
oh,
Jason.
yeah. If they come right out and ask, then yeah, that's fine. But usually I just say, well, I just cut junk food out of my diet and I just eat whole foods.
Base.
I don't, unless someone's really like, you can almost tell if someone's actually interested in knowing what you do to stay healthy because they want to do something or make a change.
Yeah.
You can tell right away. I have talked to people where you say, okay, well, if you want to drop some weight and get healthy, this is what you have to do. And as soon as you mention you have to cut out bread and pasta, it's the the interest goes away. They just don't.
Yeah.
They're like,
Exactly.
oh no, can't do that. Sorry, it's
I
like, well,
I told that same person. I said, you know what? I'll send you a copy of my blood report,
hmm
and you take it from there. I said, eventually, told him, I said, here's the problem. Eventually, you will contact me.
hmm
You will contact me. How do you do this? And how do you
sure,
do that?
yeah,
Eh,
yeah, and it is pretty tough to talk to people, and like I'm the same way with YouTube. Like I follow a lot of channels that you know pretty much all they cook is non-keto stuff, but for me, I just like to support
Right.
good creators, and they in turn they support me. Like I don't expect that they're going to follow the same kind of lifestyle that I am, but I know we were talking not too long ago about doing a chaffle challenge in the new
Yeah.
year. I've already had one non-keto channel say that they'd be interested in participating.
There it is. I mean,
Yeah.
see the stigma that's put with it. Okay, and it shouldn't
Mhm.
be that way, because I tell you what, the health aspect of it. Now I'm going to tell you, 5-6 years ago, okay, I would have told you you're nuts. Ain't no
Yeah.
way I'm giving up all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right, but you do see the results. The other problem I see that people have is They want the results yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I seen a channel, a guy lost 35 pounds in a week. So he's got more health issues than he can shake
Yeah.
a stick at if he lost that much weight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's the cliche. This is not a sprint; it's a marathon. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's, that's the message I try and get across. I'm actually going to do a video about that pretty short, like pretty soon, about it being like there is no finish line to a journey of health, right? Unfortunately, and you bring up a good point, is that a lot of people see keto and they see the overall results that it can bring, and they think, oh well, I can start this, and yeah, okay, in the first couple of weeks, especially for men, when they start keto, they may drop 10, 20 pounds in the first 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But it will slow down, obviously. The results will come, but you just have to be patient about it,
And
right?
yeah, and see, I lost right now. I'm toying with 58 pounds altogether. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I bounce back and forth with 2 pounds. So people say, well, if you're eating the same stuff and everything like that, why haven't you lost any more? Well, it's like water. Water seeks its own level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
so we're mostly made up of water, and the way I look at it is, I'm also losing inches.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the weight loss basically stalled, but I went from like size I don't know size 50, okay, down to
Mm-hmm.
size 40,
Mm-hmm.
okay, in
Yeah.
that time frame.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big part of it,
For
you
sure.
know. And,
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it brings in another thing too, is that just to if there's any of the female audience members that are watching that have started keto and they're kind of discouraged by the results. Same thing, females typically won't lose a lot of weight at first, but you have to watch the measurements, the inches, and like the overall inches, and the body, the way the body adjusts, and you lose a lot of inches before you start losing the weight. I've heard some people say that men start losing right away and then they'll start tapering off after 6 months, but then women really don't see the major weight loss until after 6 months, until after their body is adjusted to the new way of eating.
well, you hit the nail on the head, because my wife, now there's nothing wrong with her, okay,
Mm-hmm.
none whatsoever. She lost 49 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and just steady. In the beginning, she would come out, I only lost a half a pound. I said, leave the
Mm-hmm.
scale alone.
Yeah.
Leave the scale alone. Get away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Just go about your life. And we walk and do all that kind of stuff. But yeah, and now she's seeing the better results. Okay. And she feels great. That's,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's really what it's all about. Like you were saying before, is that like I got under 200 pounds at one point, which ultimately I think my body basically said to me, so well, that's great, you did that, but that's not where we're happy, right? So now I bounce around 210, something like that, but it's pretty consistent. But you're right, unfortunately everyone wants to be with a six pack and as lean and light as they can be, but the fact is unless you really want to really restrict yourself and do a lot of exercise and all that, no, it's just not where most people are meant to be. So I always tell people, just keep doing what you're doing. Your body will figure out where it needs to be, and unfortunately you just have to sort of be willing to accept that.
That's the kicker right there. You got, like I said, when I first started this, I said back in 16, oh, this is great. I'm feeling really good, the whole bit. And then we went to a couple functions, and I'm seeing people, eating different things and having, a couple beers and stuff like that. I can do that. I can do it. Well, You can't. Not when you first start out. You can't. I'm sorry, but you just. I'm a realist with it.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of I eat clean. I don't eat nothing out of a box. Um, my big thing is, and here's where most of the people in the keto world, okay, um, we don't see eye to eye. It's not that we don't see eye to eye. I think you need to kill the cravings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you need to get away from the carbs. So why would you want to mimic and make bread?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you want to get away from that. Okay.
Sure.
Also, with the chocolates and stuff. I bought the bag of Lily's, the little chocolate, the little
Mm-hmm.
chips they had.
Yeah.
And reading in the back, and it said 60. 60 is the serving size.
Yeah.
So I put them out on a plate. My wife says to me, "What are you doing?" I'm counting the serving size.
Yeah.
Well, by the end of the night, I must have ate the half the bag anyway. So
Yeah.
I mean, so you got to kill the cravings. That's number one, and get to the point where people say, "Well, do you do that intermittent fasting?" Not intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I eat when I'm hungry, and that's it. So the other day, Marie says to me, "Are we going to eat anything today?" Holy crap! What time is it? I said, "It's almost 6 o'clock."
Yeah.
I'm not hungry. So
Mm-hmm.
some days I can do that. Other days I'm hungry. Chipping away all day long.
Yeah.
But to get away from all that foods that we don't know what's in it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
especially shelf stable. Okay, don't know how it's affecting your gut.
Right.
That's my opinion on it anyway. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And this year I'm trying to, I've been guilty of sort of overindulging in these highly processed products. But this year I've sort of determined that I'm gonna, I'm kicking some habits like energy drinks uh, and a lot of the processed stuff. I'll admit I have a bag of those Lily chips in my freezer, but it's one of those things where you just have to say to yourself, look, it's not a snack. If you're going to make a recipe for YouTube,
fine,
go nuts. But
yeah,
it's not to open the bag and pour a handful and
right.
and and appease those cravings, like you say. And it does, you're right. The more you can stick with the whole foods, the less you really even think about that stuff.
That's the kicker. I mean, and that was the hardest thing for me because I started this. We started keto in June of 2021.
Hmm.
Okay, and then August is when I started the YouTube channel. Come Christmas time, okay. Now uh, I'm an Irish guy, so I like my wife's Italian, so we always had Christmas Eve. We always had a big spread,
Hmm.
food and everything. Everybody coming to the house. We didn't have really last year. We didn't have too many, nothing around because we just got done with the sea.
Hmm.
And so I made chaffles. Okay, I made
Hmm.
chocolate chaffles.
Yeah.
Okay, and people don't realize that's what was attracted me to your channel was the different ones that you made.
Hmm.
Okay, the different ways and stuff. I said, wow, look at this. We do have something in common. But
Hmm.
what I did was I made chocolate ones. Okay,
Right.
and I took the heavy whipping cream and I
Hmm.
made that chocolate. Okay, and I made them
Yeah.
like a layered cake with strawberries and blueberries,
Yeah.
and that threw me over the top. That was my not a cheat because it was mostly all low carb, but I used monk fruit, and I can't. I'm a type 2 diabetic, so I can't be
Mm.
using sugar, no matter how you add it up. And that's you know,
Sure.
uh,
Yeah, you're right. And again, everyone needs to. I think that's one of the biggest downfalls to any kind of change in your lifestyle, especially with keto, is that you know uh, I've definitely seen a lot of people that can survive and do pretty well on what you would sort of call dirty keto
yeah,
or whatever, and they can eat all these processed replacement foods, and you know, at the end of the day, you know, you and I have reasons to stay away from it,
right.
just for health reasons. But at the end of the day, if you don't have those health reasons necessarily to worry about, the replacements are still better than the originals, I guess. Like I would never sort of say, oh, well, you shouldn't be eating that, when they've made the conscious choice to stop eating bread
Yeah.
and pasta and sugar, and they've replaced it with other things, especially at first, like it's,
Yeah.
some people never make it through if they don't do that.
And see, that's where people, most people say, "Oh, this guy's nuts." Mean to me, "Oh, this guy's nuts." Okay, he don't believe in none of that. No, it's not. That's not the point. The
Mm-hmm.
point is, I can't use that stuff because it affects me.
Right.
Okay, but if you're in it for a weight journey and getting your health back, and you have no metabolic problems,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and that's what you're doing for to get healthier, get back in shape again, this and that. By all means, as long as you're not having that sugar, you
Sure.
can have these alternatives. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you can do the keto chow. You can. The only thing I frown on a little bit is like coconut flour and almond flour. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that stuff you got to use very, very lightly.
Yeah,
Okay,
oh yeah.
because
Yeah.
that will affect you. Definitely will affect you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, I right there with you. My first year, I went through so much almond flour and coconut flour, making all these different things, and it's like, but you're right. It can definitely affect your journey in ways you don't really expect. So
just
I just got to the point where I was like, well, I don't really have any need for this, so it's
right.
just cut it out.
Yeah. If you can see over my shoulder here, on over here,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I have my constant reminder and always in the picture, Mr. Potato Head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I love potatoes. I love pasta and stuff like that. So I can't
Mm-hmm.
have it.
Yeah.
So I just that's that like the constant. That's like the the little guy on my shoulder saying, "Hey, go ahead, come on, you can have French fries. You can have this."
Sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you. Potatoes were my thing too. Potatoes and rice. Because I had actually, I'm not celiac, but I have a real intolerance for gluten.
Okay.
So I had cut gluten out of my diet for 5 years before I started keto. So in a way that actually made it easier for me because I wasn't eating bread or pasta as it was, right? So, the only thing I was missing out on is basically filler things because rice and potatoes,
They're the fillers.
they taste great, and I could eat my weight in French fries any day of the week, but they don't really, they're empty calories more or less. So
Yeah, and I was connected with the ketogenic woman. Okay,
mm-hmm.
Anita, she's great. She's
Mm-hmm.
up in Canada also.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a great channel. She's the one I actually connected with. Is for her and Alan,
Mm-hmm.
and I connected with them. Alan was making pasta, 4
Mm-hmm.
ingredient pasta. Okay, and I looked at it and I said, you know what? That's pretty intriguing. Okay, there's no nut flours in it. There's no flour whatsoever. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's eggs, cheese, and pork rinds and cream cheese.
Right.
So I made my version of it, but that's how I connected with her. And I tell you what, they're pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have them all the time, but it just, if you're going to have meatballs, you're going to want to have a little spaghetti with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Yeah. Not to go off, off in a tangent, with having, keto pasta and stuff like that. I don't think that's any good for you. But that's just me.
Yeah. And again, I don't really get into that kind of stuff. At least nowadays, I've basically cut it out. Like with my wife not being keto, it's just one of these things where, we basically will, I'll do some sort of protein that we both have, and I'll have some vegetables with it. I don't eat a lot of vegetables either, but, and then, if she, like last night we did steaks. So, I cooked up a couple of potatoes for her, and, she had one last night, and she'll have leftovers during the week. And it's tough to manage that way, but we've made it work. So
yeah, but you're more or less, you're like what, 5 years into keto?
It's just over 4 years.
Just over 4 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with that said, okay, it becomes much easier to
Mm-hmm.
deal with it than it was from the beginning.
Oh, for sure.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So, I mean, if you have a 1 or 2 potatoes, it's not really going to affect you to
Mm-hmm.
that point, okay? Because you know the results,
Yeah.
okay? You
Yeah.
know what's going to happen. I
Well,
had a couple weeks ago. I had four green grapes.
yeah.
Holy moly, my blood sugar, bing! And that's the other thing. That's what I'm afraid of right there.
Right.
Um, that I'll get right back into blood sugars 250 and over and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. So this is my life right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's sort of why, and a lot of the talk on a lot of channels and all over the internet is all about, okay, you know, well, I'm going to have a cheat meal on my birthday, or I'm going to have a cheat meal this. That's fine. Again, I'll never try and deprive, you know, say anything that deprives people of doing anything that makes them happy. The problem is I find that a lot of people that think, oh, well, I can just have this one day off plan and everything's going to be fine. I'll just get right back on. Half the time they say, okay, well, I ate a pizza last night and I drank a bunch of beer and, I'm just going to fast for the next 3 days. Well, that's how you get into disordered eating. That's not the way you do things. You need to, okay, if you go off the rails for a day, that's fine. Just change tomorrow. Just get right back, eat what you're supposed to eat tomorrow, and don't punish yourself for doing it. I can't do it. I've realized over the years that I am not a moderator, never will be. I cannot say to myself, okay, well, I'm going to have something off plan today because I know what'll happen. I'll say, hey, well, I had this and it really didn't make me feel too bad. Maybe I'll have it again next week. And then 3 weeks from now, I'd be like, hey, I'm not feeling too bad. Maybe I'll have it again twice a week. Unfortunately, that's just the way I am with stuff. So
But
that's why.
you have the mindset set in your head exactly how you have to do it, and
Hmm.
that's the critical part of it.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
knowing exactly that you can or you cannot have it. Yet, can you push come to shove right on the road? And yeah, I'm going to have a couple French fries. I know deep down inside, I know later on that evening, I know exactly how I'm going to feel from that.
Hmm.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
the choice right there.
Sure. And I think, and like we were talking, or you mentioned fasting before.
Yeah.
One thing with my lifestyle is like uh, I do a lot of driving for my job,
Mm-hmm.
and the job that I do doesn't always lend itself to being able to spend the proper time to eat properly during the day. So before I started keto, it was always, stop at a gas station and buy some junk food and some pop and, you know, just to get something in so you didn't feel like you're going to die. But now that I've been keto for 4 years, it's like, okay, well, if I could take something healthy for lunch, that's great. If I don't have time to eat, it never really bothers me not to eat lunch anymore. So that's the thing. So if I find myself not being able to find something that's on plan, well, usually I just don't eat.
Do you track macros and everything like that?
No,
Neither do
never
I.
have. No.
Neither do I, because I know exactly. And see, the greatest tool ever. You don't have to get them apps and stuff like that, and get all the bells and whistles with it. If there's something I like butternut squash wintertime. I like
Hmm.
different soups and stuff. So
Sure.
I will Google how many carbs are in a serving of butternut squash.
Hmm.
16. I try to stay with 20 carbs or less.
Hmm.
Okay. So for a serving of soup like that, well, I might go over. Okay. So I
Right.
know exactly what I'm going to have. So, I mean, all that, I try not to make it too complicated
Hmm.
to live my life. Okay. Worrying about, oh God, if I have this or I have that. Don't have that. Okay. And that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
way it's got to be. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. When I first started, I've never tracked specific macros with like apps and stuff like that. I could never be bothered with that. I did test ketones for the first 6 months or
Yep, me
so.
too. Me too.
But here in Canada, I don't know what it's like now. But when I first started here in Canada, it was like almost $3 for each strip. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, well, I'm not this is ridiculous. But I did finally realize, hey, I could buy 100 glucose strips for $10.
Right.
So it's much better to test glucose after you've eaten something. And, if you're within normal ranges, then that your ketones are going to be fine
Yeah.
anyways.
See, my problem with, I'm type 2 diabetic. So just to test, my blood sugar, they wanted to do it every day, 2 or 3 times a day. And I said, not now. I'm not going to do that because I know where I stand with it. Okay.
Right.
Like I said, last week a couple weeks ago, I had 4 grapes. The glucose monitor loved it because, beep, 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 beep. It was going crazy. But the whole point is, once you know your status, where you're at, okay, you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff.
No.
And most people that understand that once you get into ketosis, you don't stay in ketosis all the time.
Right.
Your body makes glucose and also makes ketones, but the ketones are not used as much because you eat a lot of sugar. So your glucose, is up. But once you're pretty strict on, that's why I say in the beginning it's kind of hard. Okay, but if you're tracking your ketones, okay, and all of a sudden you're saying, "Oh man, the ketones are gone." Everybody runs to the MCT oil and all that stuff. Oh, I got to get back to the ketones. And that's your body normalizing.
Yeah,
it's going back to normal.
Yeah.
Okay, where it can burn both ketones and glucose. And that's where I'm at right now. I know one thing though, I can't have 4 grapes. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's funny how after being fairly strict for quite a while, you can definitely tell, oh well, hey, I don't think I should have eaten that, because your body will tell you, that it's not happy with that. But you're right, the ketone thing, and that's why I really personally don't like a lot of these challenge things. Like, I'm not against challenges. Don't get me wrong. It's like lots of people that really helps them keep on track. But the challenges, especially that would say, okay, well, we're going to do this, and then a certain time of week, we're going to test our ketones. It's like, okay, well, then I just see a bunch of people that aren't happy because they don't see 1.5 or 2 on the ketone meter.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, did you have a stressful day at work? Are you more fat adapted now? Like, I could probably.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I've been eating fairly strict for 2-3 weeks now. I could test my ketones right now, and I bet you they're no more than 0.5.
Yep.
But that's just because my body uses ketones as energy, right? So,
and that takes me back, Jason, to why I eat completely clean. This another reason why I'll never get a sponsorship from was it Chuck Keto? What the hell is it? Keto Chow. They'll never look at me.
They'll never look at me either.
because here's the problem. Okay, I'm eating 1 time a day, like you just said. You don't have lunch. Okay, I'm eating 1 time a day, and that's not because I want to. That's because I don't feel like eating. I'm not hungry.
Sure.
But if you're chasing yourself, okay, and then you do all the steps and all these different challenges, and you go and have yourself a big gulp of that keto chow, you don't know what that's doing to your innards. Have no idea. Right. Okay. Yeah. So once you have that stuff, your insulin's going to pump up. Okay. Body goes, something's going on here. What's going on? And that's the thing you're going to try to keep doing, is try to keep that fight or flight even. That's when you'll do better with the ketogenic lifestyle.
Sure.
I drink a ton of water.
Yeah. I've been trying to focus on getting more water in every day. I've been trying recently to kick some of the bad habits like energy drinks and stuff like that, and replacing it with things like water. And I still have my, my Zevia and stuff like that. I'll still stay with things like that because they don't bother me and it doesn't really trigger anything. So
yeah,
but yeah, it's the water is definitely
and I
something
just want to clear up. I might have misspoke here a little bit. Not with the keto challenge, stuff like that. If you're not type 2 diabetic, or you don't have any other metabolic problems,
sure.
That's fine. That stuff is fine
Mm-hmm.
for you. I'm just saying, me personally, I can't do it because anything that's shelf stable or has xanthan gum in it or anything like that, xanthan gum is a derivative of sugar,
Right.
and I just can't have it. But
Sure.
there again, that's just me. So
yeah, and I completely agree with you. I'm more of the mindset that, and I've always been this way, is I like to eat real meals. Like if I'm going to eat a meal, like I've never been one to think, okay, well, I'm just going to drink this shake instead of eating a hamburger. Like I'd rather not eat than to drink a shake, because that's, and again, that's just me. I'll never, there's lots of people that find it useful, especially if they're really busy. And, there's a lot of people out there, unfortunately, these days, they don't really know how to cook and make real healthy meals, right?
and that, I'm glad you said that, because that is something that I have to take into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was my profession for a long time. Okay,
Sure.
so what do you mean you don't know how to do that? That's absurd. You should. I get it, and I really do get it. And people ask sometimes, just like the old saying, there's never a stupid question. Well, why did you use this and why did you use that? Okay, and I'm saying to myself, really? But then I got to catch myself, because you know what? No, I'm not a brain surgeon. I'll have a brain surgeon ask me a question like that. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
that's the. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. And like right from the beginning, when I said like keto it's not a one size fits all. It all depends on where you started from and where you're trying to get to. You're exactly right. You just basically have to be able to understand and figure out what works for you, what doesn't, what you have to avoid, what you can indulge in.
And don't
for
make it
me,
hard on yourself.
sorry.
And don't make it hard on yourself.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is I have noticed a lot where people try and complicate it so much. It's like, just eat real food that isn't starch, or sugar. Like start there and things will get better. You're right though. People do try and make it complicated. I personally spent so much time researching it before I started. I thought I was going nuts, because you got Thomas DeLauer saying one thing, you got Dr. Berg saying another thing, and it's like, oh my God, like, what do I do? Okay, let's just stop eating sugar.
Yeah, exactly. I started out watching Dr. Berg, okay, and come to find out, no, I'm not there again. I'm not knocking the guy or anything like that. But once he started trying to sell stuff, I said, wait a minute, where's his best interest? Yeah. And most of them try to do it. Then I went to Ken Berry for a while, and this and that. I still watch him, but I could see him flipping and flopping. And then I got into this Dr. Eric Westman. He actually took over, got a lot of research from the Atkins diet, because the similarities with the two. And he's the guy who actually said dirty keto is fine. Okay. Once you get over the hump.
Right.
So he calls his keto prescription keto. Cut out the nuts, cut out this, boom, bang, bang. Do this for a while, and also about medications. Talk to your doctor about medications, different medications. Jason, I found out that 3 of the medications I was on, guess what it does? Causes weight gain.
Yeah.
Causes type 2 diabetes. So that's what I'm saying, chasing your tail. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Also, the other guy I like, the other ones I watch is Dr. Brett Scher from the Diet Doctors.
Mm-hmm.
He's a cardiologist,
Right.
and he goes. But I mean, he questions a lot of different people and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, you get educated with it. A lot of people shouldn't do keto.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The worst part of it is, in my opinion, the worst part of it is starting it and then stopping it.
Right.
Okay. It was a perfect example. I mean, I gained 20 more pounds that I lost.
Mm-hmm.
44 pounds, and I'm gained back 64 pounds. And I'm telling you why they came back in a hurry.
Sure.
So that's,
Yeah, it's well, that it definitely you're 100% right there. That the whole starting and stopping thing is just so hard on the body.
yeah. Now you still work, so you must be pretty active with it too. So
Mm-hmm.
exercise is what you're doing. See, I'm retired,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm 68. In a couple of years, I'm going to be 70. Okay,
Right.
and at one point in my life, I didn't think I was going to make it this far,
Mm-hmm.
but right now, I feel great doing it. So yeah, you got to exercise. You got to move. I watch Alan, Awesome Keto World. Okay,
Right.
and all of a sudden he's out and he's doing all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. He's doing a great job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Motivating people.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right. I'm pretty lucky with I can't say that I enjoy my job every day, but it does keep me fairly active. I can easily, put in 10,000 steps in a day without even thinking about it. So I'm lucky that way. And yeah, I lost when I started keto, I lost 80 pounds,
Wow.
but I wasn't, I never really got, I don't think, as overweight as I probably would have if I hadn't started. I was lucky that I realized early enough, like, okay, well, I got to do something. It wasn't necessarily the weight that was bothering me. It was the sore joints and, uh, not being able to function properly because of it that really started me. But, and I've been active my whole life with sports and stuff like that. So, I'm thankful for that, but keto definitely started as a weight loss thing for me, at least, and then morphed into, hey, how healthy can I possibly get? Can I get healthier every year instead of going backwards like a lot of people do as they get older?
And me and Alan, we go back and forth with each other. Okay. Everybody says, well, you're 68 and you must dye your hair. I don't touch it. I swear to God, I don't touch it. So me and Alan says, I got a bald spot in the back and I could swear I'm growing hair.
Yeah.
So, but we kid around like that because, I wish there was more doctors got involved with this because number one, it is helping people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This lifestyle is actually changing people around, turning people around with different problems they have, metabolic syndrome and also type 2 diabetes. They also did, I don't know if you watched two keto guys. They put on these different seminars and stuff like that. So they had this Dr. Westman on there. They actually talked about there's certain people that are reversing not heart damage, but like heart problems, heart related problems.
Sure.
Okay. That it's starting to reverse it.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting stuff, but I wish more doctors would get on board with it and push it along a little bit because I do believe it really helps. It really did help me anyway.
Yeah. The whole doctor thing, you're right. Like there's light at the end of that tunnel. I think eventually the newer generation of doctors will know this information as they're coming up because none of them are taught it in medical school.
No nutrition.
Yeah, but more and more of the young doctors, I think, will understand this as they're coming up and not be as focused on making money off patients. I personally think, and I think I don't know if you've looked at the the work that Verta's done, the Verta Health.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think the real change has to come from insurance companies.
Oh, I'm just going to say that.
Yeah. You know, if you could get a discount on your health insurance by adopting a keto lifestyle, maybe it would push more people in that, because at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10 things are about money, right?
Well, you just
So
hit the nail on the head with me.
yeah,
Good God Almighty.
so you know,
The sad part is I don't see an MD anymore. I see a DO. Okay, so um, he's more attuned to what I'm doing, and he sort of gave me the green light. I said, well, I sort of told him, no matter what you say, I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, but he's all for getting me off the medications.
Sure.
Yeah, check this box. Okay, you're good with that. Okay, you're good with that. You're good with that. And then you start watching these others. I mean, you can get wrapped up into this stuff pretty much, but you got to know what works great for you. Okay, may not work for somebody else, but they're also saying that now all of a sudden the big push from years ago about lowering your cholesterol may not be the right answer. Okay,
right.
They're showing the death rates with people who are very low with cholesterol. Okay, with the serum cholesterol and the LDL and the HDL working into play. So right now I'm at like right in the middle with it, and actually my cholesterol was 121. Okay, so that's right at the threshold. They say anything below that, and they want the Heart Association wants you below that. Okay, but eating a standard American diet, sad. Okay, I don't see me going there anywhere anytime soon.
Right.
So that's the other caution that people have, and also with salt intake. All right, that's why I drink a lot of water, keep your kidneys moving.
Yeah,
and also I eat a lot of salt. I put a lot of salt on my stuff, just for that one reason.
Sure. Yeah, it's that. I think out of anything, when I first started, everyone's like, "Oh, well, you're going to die from a heart attack with the high cholesterol and everything." I'm like, well, but how do you figure that? Like, if that was true, then all of our ancestors would have died before they could even carry on the species. Like, what are you talking about? This is just real food. That's what we're supposed to be eating. Obviously at first I didn't know all the details, but then, you do your research and you get these, all the details. Okay, well, LDL is not the only metric, but it's the only thing that anyone cares about when it comes to measuring cholesterol.
Well, and they switched it. All of a sudden they switched it from the total LDL now to particles.
Yeah.
Okay. So wait a minute, who's skewing this stuff here? You know what I mean? So Ken Berry did a thing a couple of weeks ago about Dr. Ken Berry. He came out with this thing to be very careful about the medications that you're taking, because they're doing studies now that are coming out between your blood cholesterol levels from 120 to 240 is where you should. Anything below that, not good. Higher, anything over 200, he's saying, if you really listen to him. But it's scary stuff, and that's why I said I wish they would get on board with it a little bit more.
Sure.
And get their story straight. And you hit the nail on the head with insurance companies.
Yeah. The more they actually research the actual, science behind it and what really matters, you get you're right, the different types of LDL, but then getting your HDL as high as you can, and keeping your triglycerides as low as you can.
Yeah.
If those two are in check, the LDL is not as much of a factor. Now, obviously, you still want to be, aware of it and not let it get out of hand. But again, we're not doctors. We're just talking from experience.
Without a doubt.
I'll put that in the intro to the video.
Yeah. I mean, and you don't want to go there, but you know what? I'm seeing just the results from me alone. Okay. But more and more people that I talk to that do this lifestyle is starting to find out that it's helping everything,
Sure.
just not
Yeah.
losing weight. That's
Yeah.
that's the whole crux of the matter.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And again, it goes back to, I think, obviously 99 out of 100 people are going to start something like this to lose weight,
Right.
which is great. I just implore anybody who's thinking about starting it or just started it to get over that weight thing, forget about the weight, and pay attention to how you feel.
That's it.
What else does it change in your life? You get more energy, you sleep better, your overall life improves. Yeah, okay, that has to do with weight, but the other things that go along with it, that's what can help you turn it into a lifestyle.
Yeah, it'll continue to. I mean, you'll see in the first. I mean, everybody with the keto flu. I had one lady say to me, "Oh, you're nuts! I thought I was gonna die. This is crazy." He told
Yeah.
me. I said, "But you're there.
Yeah.
Keep going. You're there.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gonna pass.
Sure.
But,
And there's a lot of things you can do to avoid that too. It's just, unfortunately, a lot of people just jump into it. If you can juice yourself with electrolytes for a few days before you start, and you can help get over that. I had a headache for a couple of days. That was about it. I remember within a week I could barely even sleep. Like, I was just like, just wired. I couldn't sleep. It took me like 3 weeks before I could actually sleep properly again. But
you know what got me was the clarity.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa! I mean, thinking about things, I was, holy moly.
Yeah. It's definitely improved my focus on things, and so. But that all goes to the added benefits of doing something like this. It's not just a weight loss diet, and technically, I'll always say it isn't a weight loss diet, right? When you think about it, because first you get healthy, then you lose weight. That's the way it works, right?
And, and originally it was because of children with epilepsy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How they seize, stop at the seizures and stuff like that. But there again, stop and think about that. That makes a lot of sense, because all of a sudden, because of the clarity that you're having.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay? If you're on a high carb, high sugar diet, SAD, standard American diet, okay, they tell you, endocrinologists will tell you, you got to eat in between meals, okay, snack, make sure you have this, make sure you have that. So you're eating 6 to 8 times a day.
Yeah.
Okay, nonstop. That's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that anymore. In fact, I don't even think about it.
Yeah. I don't either.
That's basically where it's coming from. I think about making chaffles, and I think about making different things.
Yeah. My focus is totally changed from what do I want to eat to what can I make a video about.
Yeah,
that's about
nowadays.
It anymore, so.
Nowadays, with the prices of food and stuff like that, I buy in bulk. Always did. That's from the restaurant business, but just the prices alone are crazy. That's why I buy everything. I'll buy like a whole chuck roll. I'll cut that up myself. I grind my own meats. I make my own sausage, make my own hamburgers and stuff. I know exactly what's going into it. You know what I mean? We buy vegetables. I'll blanch them, vacuum seal them, put them in the freezer. My freezer's packed with it, with different foods, and I buy stuff on sale. So it's not hard. Okay. Shop smart. It's not hard to do this. Okay. Now, if you still need, or if you don't have type 2 diabetes, or you still like to have a couple snacks in there like that, this guy over here, okay, makes, the fat bombs and all the different stuff like that. Watch and learn. That's basically what it is. Watch and learn. I mean, you can get through this without a problem.
Sure.
Really, without a problem.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, well, I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Nope, no problem.
But one of the questions I always ask people is, if you were to start again, obviously you did it twice, but if you were to give one piece of advice to anyone who's thinking about starting, what would you tell them to get them going on their journey.
You need patience.
Mm.
You need to have patience. Okay, you got to stay, and you got to be focused. It's not a fad. Okay, and nobody's going to give you a little scale or a little something to weigh your food and stuff like that. This is all mental. You got to think about your health, your longevity. Okay. Do you want to stay in the state of mind that you're in, or the way you are right now? No, you want to change. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's it. It's a patient game. It took me 40 some years to become 300 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's not going to fall off in 2 weeks and this and that. So you got to be patient with it. And just keep in the back of your mind that, you know what, there is light at the end of the tunnel. It's not a train. It's actual daylight,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to feel great. The feeling, it's almost euphoric. Okay. How, like I said, I'm 68. Okay. And I get around now than when I was 40, I didn't get around as good. So just clarity. That's just patience.
Yeah.
Would be the.
Yeah, no, that's good advice. I definitely agree. It's and that's, I think, the difference between failing at it and succeeding. If you can let it run its course and say, like, give it the attention and time that it needs to actually to start working, it's definitely worth doing. So
I look at it this way. I look at it when you're a kid and you're learning how to ride a bicycle. You had training wheels.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so you probably went maybe a month with training wheels on your bike. Okay, until finally your dad took the training wheels off and said, "Let's go." And all of a sudden, you found out that you can ride that bike. That's
Mm-hmm.
not a problem.
Yeah. No, that's a good analogy for sure.
I have a quick question for you, and then
Yep.
we'll move on from there. Have you ever made seafood truffles?
I haven't. I was thinking about it the other night because I remember you had made the shrimp taco or chaffles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I've got shrimp, but I was trying to come up with something else to put in it with them. I haven't come up with anything yet. Yeah, I've got the wheels turning and trying to come up with some new chaffles, especially if we do this, this chaffle collaboration. But
Jason is all out there. He is the chaffle king. I swear to God, he is.
Well, Steve from Serious Keto would probably have that crown, but I aspire to be as good as I can at coming up with different ones. So
pretty cool.
Well, this has been a good conversation. I really do appreciate it. You're on YouTube at Tom Garvey, the Keto Cook. I'll put your link down in the description of the video for sure. Are you on any other social medias or
on Facebook? I have Keto Cooking for Diabetes, but it all reverts back to what I did was I tried to kick it off to have other people intermingle with everybody, but they sort of just stay with whatever I put up as far as videos and stuff. I'm going to work on that a little bit more.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll definitely link out to your YouTube channel, and everyone definitely go check out Tom. We have lots of good conversations in the live streams, and you have your weekly live streams with Mike, and then you bring other guests on periodically as well. So
yeah,
we'll definitely stay tuned for that.
No, I appreciate you having me on. I really do. It was a lot of fun, and I appreciate being the first guest of your new kickoff.
Yep. Like I say, I got to try and put these out on Thursday nights probably.